What do you remember about last year's Nebraska game, or what don't you want to remember about Nebraska's game last year?
Well, I mean, I think I remember a team that went out and was ready to play, that came out, played hard, played fast in the first half, and I think, admittedly, I think our quarterback went down, and our guys on defense felt like, that was going to be it. I mean, they said that after the game, and whether that was some young guys or what, but our quarterback goes down, and he was really the one carrying the load, and we were getting stops and forced them to kick field goals, and then those things just start to steamroll and pile up on you, and it's the offense isn't doing their job, and the defense is just bleeding, and there's not a play to be made to stop anything.
Bill, can you talk about the evolution of the blitzing? You guys blitzed no more last week and blitzed pretty effectively last week.
Well, I mean, I think the evolution is just simply the game plan. I mean, what we think is going to work each week is what we're going to do. What gives us the chance to win the game is what we're going to do, whether that's rush 3, rush 6, rush 4 or 5, cover. We're going to change it up, and I think we look at that, and that's what we do on Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, all through the week. What gives us the best chance to win and get off the field on third down?
Far right over here, Austin Ward, ESPN.com. I think it was maybe 2 weeks ago, Nathan was talking to us about all of his reps were really coming in games because he'd been so limited in practice. It was hard for him to get the rust off. How has that progression been? Starting to get more work in practice, and it's translating on Saturday.
Yeah, it's been better. It's been better, and just how his health is what we're going to manage it the best that we can, and then he's doing a hell of a job for us. He's playing hard. He's excited to be back out there playing football. I think he's putting the team first. I think he cares about his teammates. I think he cares about being on this team right now, and it's showing. And it's not perfect, and none of our guys are perfect, and none of them are going to play perfect. But he plays hard. He's trying to play physical, and he's trying to do the things that we're coaching him to do.
Is it difficult for you to manage as a coach when you maybe can't work with him as hands-on during the week and you still want him to contribute on Saturday, or need him to contribute on Saturday?
No, I mean, because I played 14 years in a league that, if you can't be out there on Tuesdays or Wednesdays, if you can be out there on Thursdays and Fridays, you got a chance of playing the game. And Nathan's played a bunch of football at Ohio State. He knows that there's some technique things that he needs to work on, and practice is important. But he was out there yesterday, so that tells me he's getting better.
Middle, Dave?
Dave Biddle, Bucknuts. Mike, we've seen a lot more emotion out of Jonathan Hankins, both on the field and off the field. What do you chalk that up? He used to be a real soft-spoken guy off the field. Now he's more outspoken. Is that just him getting older, or what do you chalk that up to?
I don't know. I think it's his comfort level. I think he's understanding the game really well. I think it's slowed down for him. I think he's not only a defensive lineman, normally we're not going to ask those guys to sit there and know a bunch of plays and know when this guy does this and when this guy does that. But John is at that point now where he's starting to recognize formations, he's starting to recognize plays, and he knows how teams are going to try to attack us and him specifically. So he's got a pretty high comfort level out there playing, and I think it's just his confidence.
He's been good. How much better is he this year than last year? You were the linebackers coach last year. You still coached him. I mean, how better is he this year than last year?
Yeah, I don't know. I just know he's playing really hard for us. His conditioning level is good. Not great, but it's good. I mean, 69 plays, 60 plays he can handle. 75. We got to take the workload off him a little bit.
Middle and front, Tim.
Yeah, Mike. Coach Meyer said they sent in a video clip of Jonathan getting his face poked at the pile one time on Saturday and stuff. Did he ever complain to you about anything that was going on out there? And then number 2.
No, I told him if they were picking on him to come tell his coach that I'd try to help him out, but he never said anything.
I was going to say, you're from, you played, like you said, 14 in the league. What do you feel like is goes in a pile like that? Where do you cross the line, I guess?
First of all, there's not a football involved. There's not a fumble involved. I think when there's a football involved, a free live football, there's a lot of things that go on. Certainly one of those, somebody trying to take a cheap shot at you, whether that be a chop block or poking you in the eye or doing something, I don't think has any place in the game, especially at the college level or any level. Whether they're telling their guys, or they're allowing it to happen, or they're coaching it. I don't know, and I certainly wouldn't. Tell Nathan, go as hard as you can, and at the whistle, nobody's worth 15 yards. No, not one player that I have on the D-line is worth a 15-yard penalty or worse. Getting kicked out of the game. So we're going to play as hard as we can, through the whistle, and at that whistle, we're going to be done.
One quick follow-up. As you watched Nebraska video, I don't know if you watched them on a continuum or if you just watch the cut-ups, but the second half last week against you guys, the second half Saturday night against Wisconsin, what was sort of the common denominator there that you saw?
They're patient. One thing we have on our list as we go through and game plan is this a patient offense? And it is. I mean, they're really comfortable doing what they do. Keep pounding it, keep pounding it, keep pounding it. They know they're going to break one. They're going to catch it coming up, and they're going to hit one over the top. Things they did last year against us, things they did against Wisconsin. So what happens in sports, I think, is I'm sure they drew on last year's Ohio State game. At some point in time, Bo Pelini said, guys, we were in this spot against Ohio State, right here in the same stadium, same time of night, and this is what we did. And so then as a player, you can say, you know what, right, you're right, Coach, we were. And they kept coming, and they kept coming, and they made a play, late in the game to win the game. So a lot of credit goes to them, but, you get in those situations on defense, and, you have to understand, is this a team that's going to spread it out and chuck it? No, they're not. They're going to stay with what they do.
Front middle, Rusty?
As a coach, you prepare these guys for playing on the road, unfriendly environment, and all that stuff. Were you particularly pleased how the defense handled this? I mean, they seemed like, they weren't shook, they weren't nervous, they did everything they were supposed to do.
Yeah, I mean, I think that we had a real good understanding of what they were going to do. We came out with a lot of emotion. When you go on the road, you have to bring your own emotion. Somebody's got to make a play early, and that somebody was in our case the offense. I mean, we took the ball and went down 75 yards or whatever it was in 8 plays and scored a touchdown. So that was our emotion defensively, and I think it got us off to a good start. We had a few bad plays, but we were able to bounce back from them and played pretty consistent throughout. So certainly on the road, you have to bring your own energy, and usually that's come from somebody making a play.
And one more thing, Taylor Martinez, could you talk a little bit about him?
Certainly a threat for us, running around, making plays. He knows where his strengths are. His strengths are in his feet and his mobility. I think he's got a great understanding of what they try to do, whether they're reading, whether he's running, option or whatever. He's not going to just drop back and try to beat you that way, and he knows that, and everybody else knows that. So, but he does a great job. I mean, he took 192 against UCLA, backed up. He pulled it out of the belly of the tailback and hit a seam and beat a D lineman, and the rest was history. So he's going to be a huge challenge for us, that we're patient, that we're understanding where we have to be and fit on him in the quarterback runs.
Final 2 questions. Bob Hunter?
Bob Hunter, Columbus Dispatch. Urban said this team was really close, and he said he thought it would come together, and he was talking about how he's coached a lot of teams that don't come together, don't get that close or whatever. Do you see that, and can you relate that to teams you've been on in your experience?
Well, I mean, I think we are close. I think we're building, and it's something that, when a new head coach comes in, there's a time that, everybody has to go through, and the players have to understand, the players that have been here, that things are different and that change is going to happen, and it's all positive things, but it takes time. And I think at a certain point, whether that be on a road in East Lansing, that a team realizes, a coach can tell them, and you can say, hey, you're doing this and you're close, but until players actually realize that, they're the ones that go out and have to make the plays and play on Saturdays, until they see that, it's tough for them to buy in. And I think that Saturday was a huge step for us, and as far as buying into how close we are as a team and coming together and playing a complementary game, playing against our offense and playing with our special teams and being able to feed off of each other and blocking a punt and scoring and forcing them to punt and our offense going down, and whether they get a field goal or a touchdown, whatever it is, but just playing a complementary game.
Final question, Brandon.
Brandon Gastel with the Ozone. What do you think of Michael Bennett in his first game back, and how do you guys gauge how much he can handle going forward?
Well, I think Michael was okay. He was rusty. I mean, he hadn't been out there for a while, unfortunately. We hadn't had him since training camp. But he's going to provide some depth for us, some much-needed depth. He's had a lot of game experience last year, and we're continuing to get the young guys ready and trying to get their confidence up to go out there and perform on Saturdays. Doing it in practice is one thing, and doing it on Saturdays and in a Big Ten game is something completely different. So Michael's going to help that depth, and we're going to try to bring some young guys along.